It'll come on. Oh, here we go.
From loft to loft with Bobby's inside the Loft Line. Oh, it feels so right.
Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of the Loft Line podcast with myself, Bobby Rimmer, Tom Roskell, and Jamie Langrish. And we have legendary Liverpool flyer Paul Dalton with us this week, and he's going to be telling us all about what's going on in Liverpool. And obviously, we're going to have the same discussion in parts about what we need, what we think we can do in pigeon racing, and what we need to do to bring it forward, and what's good, what's going good, and what's going bad. So, please subscribe, hit the like button, try and get involved, and send your messages, and we'll try and get them all answered for you. And keep hitting that like button and that subscribe button, because we're doing this for ourselves, and also we're doing it. 90% of it is for you, to get everybody talking about what's going on in and around the pigeon world. So, welcome Tom, welcome Jamie.
Hello, we all right?
Evening, mate.
Yeah, okay, boys. Yeah, so we'll just wait for. We'll get Paul on now, and then we'll get cracking. So, how's everything going, boys? All right?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it all seems all right, mate. Yeah.
Hey, I'm sat in the conservatory here. This weather's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah.
Hello, Paul. How are you, lad?
Hiya, Bob. All right, Tom. All right, Jamie.
Yeah,
Hey, mate, all right.
Yeah. Hey,
All right,
thanks for joining us tonight, Paul. It's it's great that you're coming on, because obviously we're hopefully now we can get the views on Liverpool pigeon racing and stuff. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But just before you came on, them I was just saying I'm sat in the conservatory, and the wind's howling outside and the rain's bouncing down it. Tom's sat there in his caravan. You're the same, aren't you?
Yeah.
So in Liverpool, mate, how's it happening? How's it going?
I suppose it's like this, the same everywhere all around the country. We're losing members. We're losing, there's no young people coming into the sport, as you know.
Yeah.
I think, only speaking on my own club, I think in 2008, 2009, our Emily joined the club. She was about 8 or 9. And so she was 2008, 2009. Now in 2025, she's 23. And she's still the youngest member in the club. So there's no one come in between 2009 and 2025. And then when you look at our Emily, the next person up would be, I think it'll be Mick Smith. He'd be about 47. And then you've got members in the 60s, the 70s, and then into the 80s. So, our club alone, it's dying, Bob,
Yeah. Well, that's what we talk about every week, don't we, lads? About what we could be doing as a club, as a federation, and to kind of get people into the sport. Before we got to that, though, what we was talking about existing members, weren't we, lads? About existing members. Are we doing enough to kind of bring people into the sport?
Just a thing on that, Bob. In 2020, we had 20 members flying in our club. Up to say 22, 23, 15 flying. Now this year we had 14 flying members. I would say the first couple of races 8 or 9 cents, and then it went down to 5 or 6. Come the young birds, it was down to 3 or 4, 2 or 1 week, 2 the next week, and then back up to 3. So we've got the members, but they're just not sending, Bob.
Yeah. Well, so to everybody, do you think we should be? Do you think there should be more prize money? Do you think that'd help?
Well, in our club, we pay for £35 prize money. That's split over 4 prizes, which is not a great deal, I suppose, in this day and age.
No.
When it's costing you £1. It's costing you £1 to send a bird.
Yeah.
You've got to pay for your clock, which is £1. You got your basket stew, it's £1. We pay £1 to the Amal for the wagon, so there's another £1. So
Yeah.
if you know, the average fella, if he sends say 30 birds, I would think roughly he's spending over 40 quid to send them a week.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And some of the older members,
I mean,
you know,
another idea. What I was thinking.
well,
You've just gone there, Paul. We couldn't hear
sorry.
you then, mate.
As I say, I
It's
just
all right,
can't.
mate. It's okay.
I just can't see nothing happening in my own club because I know for a fact we've got an adjourned AGM and we're going to lose another 3 or 4 members. So, you know,
Is that is that them packing up, Paul, or going to a different club?
you see, well, the likes of me, believe it or not, there's 5 members in our club, and we're not in anybody's radius in the whole of the Amal. We're only in the club radius that I'm in, and there's 5 of us. But we've got members in our club that can fly in 3 clubs. So, you know, it goes back to the, you know, not so much in our club, but there's some that go, I'm not sending this week, it's an east wind. I'm not sending this week, it's a west wind. Or, you know, I'll send, you know, in the Fed, or I'll go with the Amal this week. Or the wagon might break down with the Fed and then he's sending the Amal, or vice versa. So we're not guaranteed to get members every week. But we, you know, this in 2025, we had 14 flying members, Bob, but they don't all race.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, that's the problem. You can't make people race, can you? You know what I mean?
No.
That's the thing. I mean, Tom, what is it we do with the Sprint Club? Do we pay up front, don't we?
Yeah, with one of our clubs, the club races Youngbirds on its own. They have their own transport, and what they do, Paul, is you pay a fee up front, and that fee covers you for 30 birds for, let's say, 7 Youngbird races. So you're all paid up front.
Yeah.
So the money's there. So like you just said there, if some people don't send, it doesn't affect the finances at all because the money's already paid. Like paying a golf fee, you know.
Yeah.
You pay up front and you're allowed 30 birds. So we found that works because obviously if people don't want to send, they don't send. It doesn't affect the few that do, you know, money-wise. It worked well.
What about transport, Tom? Do you have a fixed rate for every week, or do you just pay?
No, you pay at the start of the year. They have their own trailer, and all the money is worked out at the start of the season. The cost of hiring a van to pull the trailer, the cost of the driver, so everything's worked out. So each race roughly costs us about £350.
Yeah.
So we work out between us how many members there is. You know, all expenses paid.
Yeah. So you have like a levy.
Not a levy. You pay up front. It's a subscription.
I just missed what you said then.
Yeah, it broke up a bit, Tom.
You broke up a bit then, Tom.
Yeah, what it is, Paul, is I think this year it worked out at £170 a loft up front.
Yeah.
And that gave you 7 races, and you're allowed to send 30 birds for that. It's all paid up front.
Yeah, I don't think they'd ever do that in Liverpool, like.
Right? No,
they wouldn't do that.
It's the only way we found to guarantee racing, and it doesn't matter if some people don't send. It doesn't matter. I mean, the last, for instance, a really bad Youngbird season. It went to Cheltenham for the last Youngbird race, and everyone was, you know, ready for packing in, and obviously Youngbird sickness, and there was 85 pigeons went, but it was all paid for. It didn't cost, you know, everything's all paid out at the start. Yeah. So it worked well for us, like.
Yeah. As I say, it sounds good on paper, that, but to put it into action in Liverpool, they wouldn't have that.
No,
because it's, you know, I can understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Because obviously, you know, different circumstances where you race, but in Liverpool you can pick and choose, see. So, and then it's the same old thing again. If the wagon breaks down, we'll just go with the Fed. If the Fed members' wagon breaks down, they come with the Amal. You know, so it sounds good on paper, that some it does, yeah.
And I suppose when you a lot of people, when they've paid the money, they'll send. You know what?
Well,
I mean?
They will,
You know, it makes you think, right? You know, I'll send them it. I mean, I'm of the fact. I like to think that, like, to get back to prizes and money again. I think that there's a lot of sponsors out there, but people are not getting to them. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean? And for me, I think we should have one member of your club that that goes out and tries to get sponsorship for your club. Because
Yeah, well,
if you,
in all fairness, Bob, the first 2 years of the Sprint Club, I bought over £2,000 the first two
yeah, well,
years
look,
because I was going out there looking for it and getting just a
well,
race
I
sponsored.
did the same, didn't I? Look,
Mm.
I did the same as you. I went and got loads of sponsorship and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I think if you could get something to fly for, Paul, like, all right, a bit of money, but some bags of corn or something else, something
yeah,
out there. I think if you made it a bit more lucrative to fly in the races, I think you'd get a lot more people sending me. It's only an idea, do you know what I mean? So don't put me on the cross
yeah,
for it. But I do believe that if that a club should, like, like when you've got a boxing club,
yeah,
you have a member of your boxing club that solely goes out and gets sponsorship for your club.
yeah,
Last year I raised, what were it, £700 in bonus balls selling young guns to raise money for the club, and the lads who could send, they didn't send
right.
no,
Really?
to try and win it.
You won it all back, didn't you, Jamie?
Well, I won a good lump of it. My dad won a good lump of it, and then we didn't fly young birds, and then the other lads won their good lump of it in young
Yeah,
bird racing.
yeah, but you sent
But
every
it could have
time, didn't
been, it could have been a lot less if everyone had sent, and you know what I mean.
you? Mm.
But
I mean, like, also, you don't see a lot of breeder buyers anymore, do you, Paul?
no. But I was just going to bring that up because Liverpool was the hotbed for breeder buyers and gold rings, and
Mm.
and don't get me wrong, like we've won a few share of them over the years, but it
Yeah,
was always a big thing with young birds. But it's sort of like, I would say, the last 3 or 4 years it's died away for some reason. I don't know why, like, but you're getting people now with young birds. Some of them make excuses for themselves. I think some of them are glad to get the young birds sick, and so they can say, "Oh, I've had enough now. I'll pack in. I'll
Yeah, I
keep that
agree.
till next year." And
Yeah,
then you get the others that say, the breeder buys, or the same people are winning them all the time. The gold rings, they're making excuses. And pigeon flies are the worst people for making excuses for themselves, instead of saying to themselves, "Well, I'll have a go this year, give it a try,
yeah.
and see what happens." But
Bart, just put us that message up again, mate. I come off too quick for me to read it. So, Monkey Man 07S, cheers for getting involved, my mate. Thanks for following us. He said prizes and sponsors and goodie bags work well in the horse world. Yvonne.
that's my sister.
Oh, is it? Right, okay. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm just thinking of things all the time. So, like I said, the committee of a boxing club, we've always had somebody whose job was to go out and get sponsorship for things. I think that'd work in a club, in a pigeon club. You know what I mean? You remember the old days? You was flying for stuff. You was flying for money, and there was breeder buyers and gold rings. I think you should have. I think you should have somebody who can do all that. Do you know what I mean? Who can put that on? Because I'm
yeah,
sure, if there was somebody there who was pushing lads and going, right, lads, we're having a breeder buyer this year, we're having a gold ring race this year, we're going to make it, it's not going to be a saving up club. We're going to give a lot of the lads the money back in prize money. I'm sure that'd help, wouldn't it?
yeah, with some. But you see, there's a lot of people that don't win prize money, Bob, and and they're bread and butter members. Then
Yeah,
if
yeah,
they send every week, they're paying. They're contributing to the prize money because obviously they're sending.
yeah.
But
What
it's
I
like the
mean,
last 2 years. I tried to get things going in my club. I think I've done everything to raise. I think I raised 4 grand in 2 years, and that didn't help. It was to pay a few bills, that because we're not a rich club, and
yeah,
to be honest with you, there was no one apart from myself that was prepared to do anything. I done a bonus ball last year, made
Yeah.
600 quid. That just went into to pay the bills in the club, you know.
That's obviously because the members aren't sending in it. You know what I mean?
Well, that's it. And plus the fact there's no workers. There's no workers in the club, Bob. It's as simple as that. You know.
Yeah.
Apart from myself, there's no. You know, I don't think of anyone else that's got the same enthusiasm that I've got for the club. And as you know yourself, you need 2 or 3. If you had 4,
Yeah.
you're a great club, and then you'd have these ideas, and then you could put them into practice. You know.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. You've got to have the workers, Bob. And if you haven't got the workers, you've got nothing coming in the club. You see what you're getting, fellas that just we've got them in my club and they're in other clubs where they send the pigeons on a Friday night and they mark a few pigeons and they think, oh, I've helped the club, I've done my job, and then they go home, race them on a Saturday, and then you don't see them again till the following Friday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's a few members like that, you know, and what they don't realise is without the people, the likes of myself and maybe the odd person, they wouldn't be right to do that on a Friday without the likes of us.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
I mean, this is the problem, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like we're talking here, you get in your club now. You don't get people talking about doing stuff anymore,
No.
do you? Or
no.
wanting to do something, and you know that's the thing, isn't it? And what we talk about, Paul, is that our clubs are changing now, aren't they? You know,
Yeah.
some clubs are, you know, they'd rather change feds and changing Amals, and you know they're doing all mad things, aren't they? Instead of sticking to what they know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, you can remember the days where, like we mark at a pub, and there's I think there's 6 clubs that mark it, and you know, it's busy on a Friday. Don't get me wrong, but in our club, they're not all drinkers. They mark the pigeons and they get away. And the same
Yeah.
Saturday afternoon, where you used to have a bit of banter, where you know the winners would go in and buy everyone a pint or whatever, and then you have a laugh and then you go home or whatever. That doesn't happen now. There's no camaraderie. There's no banter. As I say, especially some of the members, they're in the 70s and some are in their 80s, and all they want to do is mark the pigeons, which I don't blame them. Mark the
Yeah.
pigeons and then go home. You know. But
Yeah. I mean, we've got to find a way somewhere along the lines, haven't we? Where you know we've got to be able to make it better. Otherwise, the sport that we love, it'll be finished, won't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think
I-
it'll
I-
happen when clubs are forced to join each other and they won't be able to run to different clubs, sending here, there, everywhere.
Yeah, that
I
would
mean,
help.
I'm sure if the clubs joined together, you know, and they made, you know, more members in one club, I'm sure that'd help, wouldn't it? You know what I mean? That'd make it, you know, and I'm sure, you know, the more lads there, the banter would come back, wouldn't it? The camaraderie would come back. You know what I mean? You'd
Yeah.
start having a laugh. But the problem is, you know, some people want to win without even trying, don't they?
Exactly.
You know, and we all know, it's not easy to win pigeon races, is it? You know what I mean? And you've got to put the work in, you've got to put the graft in. But some people are thinking that the less members, the more chance they've got of winning in it, and it's not the way, is it?
No.
No, it only needs one good flyer in a club, and that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
If every club had that one superstar in them, then you're not winning it without hard work.
No.
Well, them superstars, I think they'll win in any club.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's as simple as that. But you get people now that they come into the sport. Well, don't come into the sport. Sorry, they've been in the sport say 30, 40 years. All of a sudden they come into a bit of money and then go spend 10, 15, 20 grand on pigeons and think they're entitled to win, but then pigeons without doing any work.
Correct.
You know,
Yep.
and it's you know, there's in Liverpool, I know there's lads that they have people that help them out, loft managers and everything, you know. And they couldn't fly a kite on a windy day after them. You know what I mean? But It is what it is. You know, at this time, I've done every job that you can think of, and also I like doing them. But after this year, I'm not doing no more jobs. I'm just a bit cheesed off for a lot of it, and I'm just going to concentrate on my pigeons and enjoy my pigeons.
But that's how it gets you, isn't it? You know, it,
Yeah.
Oh, it does.
you know. Listen, you know, we all, you know, we can all. People forget. You know, a little bit of appreciation goes a long way, doesn't it, with people? Do you know what I mean? Just to,
Yeah.
you know, hey, listen, everybody who's watching, if you've got any ideas or any, you know, please send us some messages and you know, we'll ask your ideas and we'll put your ideas forward. Um, just to try and get us, you know, give us a bit more different insights than us just four. Get everybody talking. So, you know, keep hitting that like button, keep hitting that subscribe button. Put that last message up again, Bart, please. They're going too quick for me, these messages. You know what I mean, Paul? Sophie Bacella, Jim Bob from Workington is asking how your pigeons is and how you're keeping, Bobby. Oh, very well, thank you, mate. Very well. Very well, Sophie. And the pigeons will be better than they was last year because it's my second year with them this year. So hopefully I'll be putting everybody to bed this year. Do you know what I mean? Knocking everybody sick, Paul, like you do. Do you know what I mean? So I think what we talk about sometimes, Paul, is that, you know, like making. Do you think you could make it so that, like in Belgium, where you can fly in any club? Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, but I'd have that, yeah. But I've had it said to me, where you go, you can't come in our club. You fly, you're in the east, you know. And then I go, and then they say, you know, we're in the west. Will never win nothing in your club. But it's I don't know the answer, Bob. To be honest with you, I think
No.
the biggest crutch that happened to Liverpool was that they stopped having presentations. Not like the Liverpool Amal. They
Yeah,
stopped having
yeah.
the presentation nights, and you know, I going back 10 years, 12 years ago, where when they were on, you couldn't even get a seat to get in them because you
Yeah.
know, and then you had to get there early to make sure you did get a seat, and the tickets
Yeah.
were sold out. Once they stopped doing them presentations, that stopped a lot of it for me because it was they weren't meeting, they weren't having a nice house, and you could bring your wife along or your girlfriend, whatever, and they'd be happy to go as well. You keep them involved. But once they stopped doing all that, I think that's one of the biggest crutches for me. That, you know.
What was
But,
that breeder by Apollo?
We spoke about this the other week, didn't we? We actually. What's happening there, boys? The internet's gone a bit funky, hasn't it?
I never heard you then, Bob. I heard Jamie say something about a breeder
Everybody's
by.
freezing.
What was that breeder by Apollo?
Are you back? Are we all?
Was absolutely rammed when we used to do it like 10 years ago.
Which one?
And
The one in Liverpool?
Everyone used to come from all over bringing
that what, Jay?
Yeah, that was the. It's had a couple of names. It was I think originally it was the Taylor's Arms, and then it was the Netherton.
That were it. Yeah.
Yeah. We had a bit of luck in that. Like I used to like that.
Is that not running anymore?
No. There's only one going now. It's the Pigeon, the Fed. It's a good one, like, but I don't think nothing will ever be as successful as them ones you just mentioned. Then, like,
no, they were mega.
It was a great one. That.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I didn't get any of that, lads. I didn't get any of that. Did you, Tom?
Yeah, I've got it. Yeah, I had them all. Yeah. We used to have the breeder buyers here, Paul. We used to have them quite a lot. You know,
I don't know. Is it me or is it everybody else?
It's you.
It's you, Bob. Yeah, we used to have a gold ring, a breeder buyer, and a ring on the same day, Paul. It was great.
Yeah. Well, it was always traditional in Liverpool. You had them on the bank holiday, the August bank holiday, the Monday.
Yeah.
And they've done it for years. They've done it for years, but because certain people were winning it out of turn, you know, don't get me wrong, I went in them, but some of these people that were winning, they were going out to win them. You know, they weren't. We all had a chance. Let's put it that way. And but it was good money on offer, and I'd like to see them back them days, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, because everyone's
Really good.
beatable on the day. You know, I've always said the best pigeon wins on the day, but I wouldn't stop going in one because a certain person was winning it.
No.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you
know
try
what I
harder.
mean? Of course you do that. That's it, Tom. You try harder.
Yeah.
You know,
No.
but
Well, that's
You're
the
right,
problem.
now,
I think.
Bobby.
I think that's the problem, Paul.
Hey, yeah.
Once somebody's had a good hiding a couple of times, they often don't come back, do they? You know, it's the wrong
no.
attitude. They should come back and have a go. You know.
I love going in. I went in it last year. I've not gone in it this year because of a situation that's going on with me now. But when I get myself sorted and that, maybe I will go in it. And then they've got to breed a buyer as well. I might go in that.
Yeah. What sort of, you yourself, Paul? What's your aim in flying? What are you, a sprint man? Are you middle? Are you long? What's your aim? What's your preference?
Just to win there, Tom. The situation now is that I've got to say it's sprints because there's no channel racing. I know you can race the channel because you can join the Middle National and you can fly in the Middle National like you used to. But for myself, it's sprints. But I'm trying to get myself sorted, and I've got a few things going on at the moment. But hopefully, I'm going to try and join the Middle National and send in the national. Have a go at the national.
Good.
We've won on the channel. We've topped the combine on the channel. I like the channel. I always have done, and but I like sprint racing as well. But if you ask me what I'd like to do, I just want to send the pigeons, and I want to give my best shot, and hopefully get a decent pigeon on the day, and that's it.
Yeah.
Pause that last message up again, Barks, will you? Random track days 4374. A lot of people are stopping people joining clubs. Thanks for your comment, mate, and thanks for following us. Thank you very much. Well, that is another problem, isn't it, Paul? That people are not being, they're not allowing people in clubs.
Well, I agree. It's happening. It does happen. It happens. It's happening too much, to be honest with you, Bob. They said that the RPRA should get involved and they should let you in. But at the end of the day, if a club doesn't want to let you in, you can't get it.
No.
It's as simple as that. And half the time, I've got a few friends it's happened to. They put a letter in to join the club, and they don't even get an explanation why they got knocked back. They don't even get a reply. And then when they inquire themselves to see how does my letter go on to join the club, they go, oh, it never got a second. It never went through. And that's it. But personally, like, the clubs are getting smaller. At some time they've got to join together.
Yeah, they've got to
join. And fed, the Liverpool Amal was 2 or 3 years ago, 2.5, maybe 3,000 birds. We're down to 1,500 birds now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we've got our own wagon. You've got the feds. I think the feds doing better than us. They've got about 2,500 birds. But the feds wagon could take our birds as well, but they don't. And it's politics is involved in that one. But we should be able to go together, all up together, and there could be possibilities of 3, 4, maybe 5,000 birds every week.
Yeah.
Coming into Liverpool, into the same area.
I always think if we could just start doing that, where there's lots and lots of pigeons going, I think people would enjoy it again.
Yeah.
It's just like you're saying. It's just there's so many small-minded people in this pigeon racing. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's all down to politics, Bob. It's as simple as that.
Darren Lynch, G87. Thanks, Darren, for your comment. Some people don't like giving their advantage up and allowing other people to join their club. Thanks for your comment, Darren, and thanks for watching. But you're right, Darren. That's what we're talking about. So, do you think if it was made that you was allowed, whoever you are, wherever you race, you're allowed to join the club, and the RPRA say, right, listen, this pigeon, we're going downhill. There's too many little clubs, so we want you to all to join clubs. Do you think if you was made to do it, you'd do it? Do you think people would actually fly in against bigger birdies?
I think people would pack up.
I agree.
Spot on.
Yep.
I
Yep.
think
Yeah.
what would happen is you get all your workers in the club, your secretaries that's been secretaries for 20, 30 years, your clock setters and all, and they say, nah, that's it, I've finished now. Let someone else do my jobs.
Yeah.
I think what's happened is, I think, like Paul says there, I think people, you've got so much such people that are winning in the little clubs every week. They get that used to winning. They wouldn't want to do anything else. They wouldn't want to merge because they're all in their own little clubs, winning their own clubs. And I think that's the problem. They don't want to merge.
I want to fly against the best. I'll fly against anybody. And I've actually just joined a club now with I consider one of the best flyers ever to fly in Liverpool, and hopefully I'll be flying against them this year. But it's the same scenario, Tom. There's a saying: there's a big fish in a little pond, and it's happening too often. And there's no way around it, really. You can't put someone's arm up the back and say, listen, you've got to let me in your club, or or something, we'll do this or we'll do that. It doesn't work because your main governing body, the RPRA, says, they've got to let you in, do that. You take your case to them, they don't want to know. They don't support you. If I try to join your club, Tom, and you just went to, no, we're not letting you in. For no apparent reason, I'm not a dresser, I'm not a drug user, been caught fiddling or anything like that. I'm a good member, I've had every job and all that, but it doesn't work, and you don't get the support that you should get, and there's no way around it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think eventually what will happen, I think with the clubs getting less and less, I think eventually if we keep going like this, Paul, I don't think there will be clubs. I think it'll just be feds. One result, one fed. That's what will happen eventually if they don't get themselves sorted.
Yeah. I agree with you. 100%.
We just had a message then off Monkey Man again saying, why do you have to have permission to fly in clubs? So you can answer that, Jay. Got him.
It's well, you have to apply to a club to be a member, and then the members all vote whether you're allowed to join the club, and it's on the members whether you get in or not, and gets voted on.
So hopefully, Yvonne, that's your answer.
So you're going to join, Yvonne?
Yeah. Could we see one day that there's only national racing? Could that happen?
I think so.
I don't think it suits everybody.
But we need them shorter races to get them to the nationals, though, don't we?
Yeah.
It doesn't suit everybody. I'd love to fly. See, my backyard's only 22 foot by 22 foot. That's it. I have one shed for all birds, which I used to raise 12 cocks. And I've got some open the bottom boxes now. And my end shed is, what is it, 5? I think it's 5 foot long, 5 foot high, and about 4 foot wide. That's my end shed. Yeah. And my young ones is, I think my young ones is 8 foot by 7 foot wide. That's it. That's my back garden.
Yeah.
But my end shed, it's that small. I can't get in it. Our Emily, she's only a short ass. She can get in it. She goes in there. She doesn't like cleaning it out, but she does, and she can catch them.
Yeah.
But my shed's that small. The end shed, I can lean in, Bob. I don't have to. I can just grab them as I lean in.
Yeah, it makes it easier.
What I mean? And the times that they've got out behind me, and I've counted the ends in the baskets just to send them, I've gone, sure, he had 12 ends, and there's only 10 in the basket. And then when I look, there's 2 sitting on the roof where they've come out behind me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's, no, I'd love, it is what it is, what I've got. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy. But I'd love to have a setup where I could race the nationals, and because I've got some great ideas for myself how to race them. I'd love to race ends. I'd love to race celebrate cocks, celebrate ends. I'd love to race roundabouts. I'd love to race full widowwood cocks irons, separate.
Yeah.
But I just can't do it. But don't get me wrong. I've enjoyed every minute I've had with the pigeons.
So how do you race them now, Paul?
The what, Jay?
So what's your main system now then?
Well, it was. I used to race 12 cocks up till about 3 years ago. And then see, I can't raise a pigeon past 2-year-olds because I haven't got the room for them. So I've moved them out the shed, and I like yearlings. So, but when they go 2-year-olds, it's very rare I'll raise a 3-year-olds because I won't have room for it, and I'll have to move them out, or I give them away, or lend them out. I've had a Malviners 2 years ago. I had to lend two Malviners out because you had no room for them. But Widowwood cocks, Jamie. But I had a little bit of fun with some ends. I had to go with the ends. It wasn't roundabout. It was like, how could I say? The ends knew where the cocks was. And I used to train the ends to the cocks when the cocks weren't there.
Yeah.
So if I bit them on the wagon, I used to make sure that the lad let the ends go 30 minutes before the cocks. So as soon as the ends come home, I didn't used to feed them in the boxes, used to run in, grab them, and then throw them back in the end sections. And we had I think 2 ends, one for us this year.
So why have you not raced ends?
I've never had the room, never had the facilities for them.
Well, where do your hens stop when they're not with the cocks?
In a little shed, that little shed.
Oh, in the 5-foot shed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't fly them out to there, Paul, and show them and you don't have to do roundabout as such. You know what I mean?
What I used to do, see, I used to have maybe a couple of stock hens, or I never used to move many hens over from young birds.
No.
And then what I used to do was I used to try and make 14 hens, because I always like to keep a couple of spare hens, and I'd pair the 12 hens to the cocks, and sometimes I'd have hens in the young bird shed that the old hens, the hen shed that one as young ones, some of that a couple of face, and I wouldn't pair them up because I had other hens, old hens that were good Widowwood hens that I used to use them with the cocks. So they got weights of them hens, So I'm trying to think of it. I'm gonna raise the shed another foot high, the hen shed, so I can get at it, and a little bit more, lighter. I'm going to try and raise celibate hens from it.
There's a lot of people now racing them celibate hens, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, the lad that's done well in the Amal last year, he races celibate cocks and hens, and he had a good year.
So they never see each other, the cocks and hens, the celibate.
Well, I don't know what system he does, but I've talked to some of the best flyers in the country, Bob. Because I know a lot of people in the pigeon game, and a lot of them know me, and they all have different ideas about this celibate hens and celibate cocks.
Yeah.
One lad I know. What? One lad that I know.
Go on, Paul.
One lad that I know is that he doesn't. The hens don't see the cocks at all, and the cocks don't see the hens.
Yeah.
And he reaches them up to the 2 years of age.
Yeah.
But you've got to start. You've got to start them off as yearlings, because you couldn't be a 2-year-old hen and try and raise that as a celibate hen, because they've got too many bad habits.
Well, they pair up, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they pair up. But that wouldn't bother me, them pairing up, Tom. To be honest with you.
No, I've won with a few lesbian hens myself. Yeah,
that wouldn't bother me. But the problem that you find is that, how can I explain it? If you've done them as yearlings, and you had 12 yearling hens, and then you had 12 yearling cocks, and you never paired them up, they wouldn't have no bad habits. And them cocks, them hens, this is my idea, my opinion, no one else's. Them hens wouldn't exactly be looking for them cocks, because, as you say, some of the hens would pair to each other and some wouldn't. So I would like to treat them as young birds.
Yeah, I get you.
And that's how we'd do it. Not so much have a Widowwood box for the cocks. I'd have a perch on the box, and I'd have them on 3 perches for the hens. And I know someone that's very successful that does that.
And do you think they're more successful doing that because when you obviously show your birds on a Saturday on return, it takes them Sunday, Monday to Tuesday to get going again, flying around home, where if they weren't seeing the cocks, they'd be straight out on a Sunday going for it again, wouldn't they? Flying the skies out. Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying, Jamie. The mate of mine is, I won't say his name, but he is a good pigeon man. And he treats them like young birds.
Yeah.
And it's the same as what you do with your youngers, Jamie. If you have a good rate of results on a Saturday, I don't know what you feed them or whatever, and you top them up, or and then on the Sunday you better bat out for them. And then for me, the working day for widowwoods, roundabouts, whatever you want to call a system, starts on the Monday.
Yeah.
So then if you want to, for me, Sunday's a day off. For the pigeons, let them just see what they want to do. Get them a bath Sunday morning, let them have an hour out. If you don't want to let them out, don't let them out. If you've got to go out because you've got to go somewhere, don't worry about it, because the working day for me starts the Monday.
Yeah.
Just while we've got a little, just send us that message again, Bart. Let's have a look at it. Ian McGregor, what do you feed your hens on for racing, lads? Go on, Paul. You can answer that one if you want.
Well, I've learned a lesson with the hens because the more I'm looking into it. But I used to feed them diet Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Widowwood corn, Friday morning, fats. That's what I used to do.
Yeah.
Simple as that. But then I was talking to a lad only yesterday on the phone, and I've always said this. I think diets, it's like chocolate to a pigeon. There's fats in diet. So I think you can feed too much diet. And then he was telling me that he feeds depurative. He stopped using the diet, and once he started using the depurative, where he was having, say, 6 or 7 first a year, he was starting to have 9 or 10.
Well, I use both 50-50.
Well, you've always been 50-50, haven't you? No, seriously though, you tend to.
Davy Burns here, lads. Hang on. It's sad pigeon racing is declining rapidly. It's got to the stage where some pigeon men concentrate on one loft racing just to keep involved. Pigeon politics. All the best, Bobby and the lads. Thanks, Davy. Thanks for watching, mate, and thanks for getting involved. I mean, all these comments are right, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? And put that other one up, Barks. Did Stevie mail it? Just come on, Barks. Where are you, Barks?
Sleep. Pizza.
He'll be looking for it.
I think you're right with that, Paul. I think a lot of people feed too much good stuff to the ends. I think you're right. Bang on
Stevie
with that.
mail it, lads. Just put yes, the boys. Okay, Bobby and Dolo. Really been enjoying these podcasts. Hello, Tom and Jay. Hope to see you boys at Blackpool. Have a great 2026 racing from the Birdman of Ancoats. Cheers, Stevie, lads. Mate. Thank you.
I think where ends, Tom. I think if a hen can sometimes, everyone will have a different opinion on this, but nine times out of 10, a hen could be better than a cock on a Saturday.
Absolutely.
You've always said that, haven't you, Tom?
And you get the
I only flew hens this year. After third race, I stopped my cocks. I put that new aviary on, the airflow went right, and my cocks were off the boil, so I finished them.
And how did you do with your hens?
They've done really well this year. They've done happy days. I'm very tempted just to race hens again.
Really?
And have all cocks at home.
Yeah.
I've always found hens will come in any weather. Cocks have certain weather.
I think, you could be right there. Well, then again, we have a family of pigeons that the harder the race, the better they come. Cocks or hens. But I think where hens, and as I say, it's just again my opinion, is the feed. It's as simple as that. I don't care who you are as the feed. But I also I learned my lesson on that side, and I've sort of like twinked it a bit now. They don't get as much, and because especially that size 2000, there's a lot of fats in that.
A lot of channel people feed that, Paul.
Yeah, and there's a lot of fats in it, and I think they're peaking too early in the week when you feed that, and when you should be peaking on the Saturday, And I always remember, when I went over to Ireland about 12. I'm always going to Ireland. I went 12 years ago, and I was in one of the corn places there, and I said to Wendy Byrne, I said, "What's the sprintmen feeding here now?" And he showed me, and he said, "That's it there." And do you know what it looked like, Tom? It looked like diet with about 6 pieces of maize in it.
Yeah.
And I went, they're flying on that. He said, yeah, up to 200 mile. That's what they all fly on. I was amazed, you know, and then I started, you know, the first thing I do is if I go to, say for instance, I've been to lofts all around Belgium, Holland, you name it, all the best lofts, Ireland, Wales, you name it. If I went to yours, Bobby, the first thing I'd say to you is, show us what you feed before we've even started looking at the pigeons.
Yeah.
And I always look to see what you feed, and that gives me an idea. When you start talking to me about your results, this and that, then I'll know what you feed, and I'll know how you're doing it.
Yeah.
You know, I look into it, honest to God, 1,000% I look into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are these lads still training hard, just feeding diet
Yeah,
through the old birds?
Yeah.
So they're still training them and only
Yeah.
feeding them diet.
yeah.
See, I
You
don't
see,
train
you've
old
got,
birds.
you know, you've got. I think another thing with ends is as well, especially in Liverpool. I don't know about where you live, Tom, or whatever, but there's a lot of pigeon flies too close to each other.
Evening,
got
Tom.
enough.
Tom Hewitt. Evening, Tom. Evening, lads.
Evening, mate.
We've got like where I live, there's like 3 or 4 lofts within like 300 yards of each other. Now, if I exercise the ends of a morning, of a night, I know if I let them out of a night, I won't get them back till, if I let them out, say 7 o'clock, some are not coming back till 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, because the people that's exercising the cocks around the corner, they're sitting on their roofs getting chased by the cocks.
Ah, right. Yeah.
You know, so what I learned, then I looked, I thought to myself, I can't be doing this, because I was waiting all morning to get the cocks, the hens in.
Get the cocks out.
I'd be doing the school run, and they still wouldn't be back. Anyway, I decided the cocks went out of a morning, the hens went out of a night, and I used to let the hens out an hour before I went dark, so they couldn't go missing.
Yeah.
And you know, I've had them flying around the house, and you know, it's gone dark a little bit earlier than what I thought it was. I've dropped the trap and they're straight in. I had them in that routine, but when I had them going out of the morning, it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
You know, and then a mate of mine lives at 300 yards from me, a good friend. He'd say, Paul, I said, all your hens were sitting on my roof this morning. He said, and all the cocks were chasing them. So it's no good for me, and it was no good for him either.
No.
Yeah.
No.
But I'm looking forward to this year. It's some of it, like, if I get myself sorted and other things I've got going on, I'll be all right. I'll have to go with the ends.
It just seems that a lot of people now are deciding to race ends, aren't they? You know what I mean? You hear it when you're hearing people talking, and they seem to be going more for ends, don't they?
Yeah,
but
I think it's easier, Bob. I do.
Yeah.
You know, for me, like, I don't think it matters if you train the ends. Personally, I wouldn't train ends, but you've got them flying around the house, because for me, for winning with ends is the motivation, which is on the Saturday. Whichever way you do it on the Friday, to turn them ends on for the Saturday, that's where it matters.
I've never raced ends. I've only ever raced ends as young, and I've never raced ends. Like,
yeah, you know. But I've got all great ideas for ends, you know, all different. But it's just getting them into motion, like, you know.
You know, to go back to the feed a little bit, do you think we've been pushed to buying these kind of corns because of social media and, you know, the advertising and stuff like that? Do you think we've all fell for this buying these superior corns and stuff like that? Do you think we've all kind of fell for that a little bit?
See, what happens is you go in the corn shop and there's 5 or 6 lads all looking at the corn, and they're saying, oh, that's a good corn. And then if you said to them, what's good about it? They say, oh, it looks nice, that. It looks good. You know, they say, okay, yeah. And then someone else will come in and go, oh, look at that there. There's that Van Roby's there. There's that Fazakerley there. There's that, you know, Bays. But at the end of the day, they don't know what they're talking about after them.
No.
You know what I mean? And then I always look at the bike, and I said to him, mate of mine, he gave me a lift one day, and I said to him, I don't know where, something happened to me car. I said to him, Kevin is there. I said, give us a lift to get some corn. So I said to him, what do you feed? So he said, I feed this. I said, oh yeah. He said, what do you feed? I said, well, I'm just looking for a mix now for the young birds and whatever, you know. I said, but I don't want nothing but too much protein in it. So he says to me, well, how would you know? I said, well, if you read the label on the bag, it tells you.
Yeah, percents.
It's percents, you know. And I said, I won't get nothing over 14%. So I'm trying to explain to him what it is, and he's going, I don't do that. I just look at the corn, and then if that looks good, I'll buy it, you know.
Yeah.
But I said, in 2020, we had a great year with young birds, and we couldn't go wrong. Everything was done with them turned to gold. And we flew a cracking young in the Amal. And by accident, I got a bag of Matador extreme distance corn. And I fed that. But if you looked at the corn, you think it was a Whittlewood mix, Bob.
Yeah.
You know, but when I looked into it, it was for 600 mile and over. So what I've done is I got it by mistake. Anyway, I got it. So I opened it. I went, oh my God, and it was expensive. It was about 25 quid a bag then.
Yeah.
I think it's more now. And what I've done is I thinned it down with barley.
Mm.
I added barley to it. I never looked back that year. I
Mad,
ended
innit?
up getting more Matador corn. You can't get it now where I live, you
I'm
know.
just getting my pen out. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Just
you
getting my
can't
pen.
get it. You can't get it now, but you can get it like in certain parts of the country, but like, you can't get it here.
Yeah.
He won't pay that price anyway, Paul. Don't worry
Who?
about that.
Who,
I
Jay,
think
mate?
it's about 28 quid, 29 quid a bag now.
Oh,
No,
look at his
no,
face.
I've crossed it off now.
He's
Yeah,
just crossed it out that fall now. Gone like that with it.
Chancellor.
He's just gone straight back to the barley and the farm beans, hasn't you, pal?
Yeah, well,
Well,
it's,
I mean, there's a lot of people doing that now. A lot of people can't afford this expensive corn.
Well, I've
No.
just
You know
moved my
what?
young birds. I've just moved I think I've just moved 28 young birds over today, and they're on green peas and beans, and they'll be on that now for probably 2 months.
That's it.
That's it.
Farm stuff.
I hate fussy young birds. You get these young birds that are running up and down the trough looking for them small seeds.
Bob, I just let this dog out. It'll be 1 second.
Yeah, all right, Paul.
Yeah,
go on,
lovely.
mate. Okay.
Come on.
Yeah. So your young birds, Jay, are the parents feeding them barley and peas and beans?
No, when they're in the stock loft,
Yeah.
there's only the parents feed them. I don't put anything in the boxes.
Right.
The young ones never see food till the day I move them.
So the stock birds, what are they on that are feeding the young ones?
They're on a mix from Bamford's, and I always forget the name of it. It's a good all-round mix.
Yeah.
I had crushed peanuts to it.
Yeah.
I had beans to it. I had green peas to it. I have growers pellets to it. P40 pellets. I just give them a mix. Pinhead oatmeal. They just get a mix of everything.
And then when they move over themselves and they're
the
eating themselves,
they're just on green. I know the young ones don't see food in stock loft.
Right.
When when they go in the young bird loft, that's the first time they see food.
And then on green peas, what else?
And beans.
And that's it.
That's it.
And are you kind of similar to that, Tom?
Yeah, all my winter mixes are all farm foods, not chicken nuggets.
Sorry, lad. Peter Fern 2982 says, "Evening, all lads. Sorry it's late. Sorry I've missed a bit. So, evening, Peter. Thanks for joining us, mate. Thanks for joining us all. Go on, Tom. Sorry.
Yeah, ours from when ours are not competing. So when we finish young bird racing, everything goes onto farm. We buy it all farm around here. We buy peas, beans, barley, wheat, maize. It's all farm stuff. We get fed right through the winter with that, and obviously rearing young'uns. So it's all farm bred stuff. We only really in the race on, let's say, bags of corn that you buy from the wholesalers and that.
Yeah,
it's all farm bred apart from that.
And is it a lot cheaper, Tom?
I can get here if I mix in, let's say, beans, barley, wheat, and maize. I can make 25 kilo for about £6.50.
Wow. Wow.
It
Sounds a lot better. Sounds a lot cheaper, that, doesn't it, Paul? Doesn't it?
Well, there's no farms where I live, like. But
Hey, Paul, listen, it's worth your while getting a truck and going buying it and selling it to the lads. It is, isn't it? There's a little angle for you there, Paul.
That farm where we get it from, they deliver. We had 100 bags delivered, me and my dad. We got barley, beans, green peas because the maple had failed, and wheat.
Yeah.
It was all good food.
See, it's out there if you can set the time to go and look for it, can't you, Paul?
Yeah, of course it is, yeah. I think, what's your race on, Jamie?
Oh, what?
Where
Oldens?
the Oldens, yeah. What's your feed for the Oldens?
My Oldens is a mix that Alan Wicker makes. He makes
Yeah.
his own mix up there. I think he gets Bamfords to make it for him. So I use that, and I'm on diet and depurative.
So it's
Up
not
to
farm
200.
foods, is it? It's not farm foods,
No,
is
but
it?
I'm
Not
on
for
the
racing.
youngers now.
Not for racing.
Just
Not for
now
racing,
while
no.
they're babies. I don't
Yeah.
want them being fussy. So if
Yeah.
I start
Right.
feeding them seeds and stuff, you always get that one that scream up and down trough looking for the bits of chocolate, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're never any good because all the lives then they just stick to wanting seed. For me,
Yeah.
I don't. They just don't. They don't make it.
No. I think with the commercial food now, it's already made up for you, isn't it? Whether with beef or with cocks, hens, racing hens,
Yeah.
young birds, and it's just adapting to one that suits you, or if you want to mix it with something else. But I'm a great believer in adding, a third of barley, mate, especially for the young ones. And the reason I do is just to keep them under control.
Yeah, well, these aren't going out yet. As soon as mine go out, they'll get barley in the mix.
Yeah, yeah.
But just while the tots, I've just moved them for the first 2 or 3 weeks. They'll just get beans and peas just to set them off on the right road for me. That's just me anyway.
Hang on, lads. Got Tony Kerman. Hello, Kermo. Hello, boys. Keep up the good work, Bobby. And see you in Blackpool, Dello. Hey, Tony, we'll get you on here soon. Don't worry.
But no, I think you've got to draw the line. It's a great idea, the farm foods. I'm not against it, and I wouldn't knock anybody that uses it. But I think when it comes to the racing, I think it's a different ball game then.
Absolutely.
Well,
absolutely.
It don't get used.
Yeah, I think
No,
you've got to
just
be
through winter and that. And really young ones. It's why not?
Yeah. I've got no problem with it, Jamie. I think we get spoiled, see, because there's that many different kinds of corn for old, young. We get spoiled.
They've even got different coloured maize now, haven't they? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
exactly.
I remember going to Lille 20 odd years ago to the Olympia. I was with Lol Whittle, Bob MacDonald from Scotland, the fella that's he went to Malta, Eddie Newcomb, and I was with them. And anyway, I'm a coach, and we ended up going on the show. And I was talking to these Germans, and they didn't want to know the English. They just fucked it off, as simple as that.
Yeah.
But anyway, a few years later, started talking to them, and I said to this young fella, about 20 odd, I said, he spoke English. I said, these were all old flyers, these, Bob, I said, who's the best flyer out of these? He said, me granddad. And I said to him, why? He said, he wins from 60 mile to 600 mile. So I said to him, oh, so anyway, he gets talking to him. And I said to him, well, what you feed? And he went, so we couldn't understand me. I said, well, what you feed? He said, Fazakerley. And he said to me, lighter the corn, faster the air. So I said, 600, listen to this one. So I said to him, 600 miles. He went, yeah. I said, lighter the corn. So I said to his grandson, I went, is he talking about diet or what? He went, so he says, no, start shouting at me, he says, no. He said, come with me. And what he meant was, he goes to the Fazakerley stand and he said, no, lighter in colour.
Oh.
He meant lighter in colour, which was the maize and that. And the only dark corn that was in it was the black maize. First time I've seen black maize.
Yeah.
And I said to the Fazakerley fella, I said, how come we don't have this Fazakerley in the UK, in England? He said, no, this is just made for the Germans.
All right.
And he said to me about the black maize, he said, there's more sugar in the black maize. That was the reason he's done it. But when you looked at it, when you looked at it, there was about 4 different kinds of maize in it. What he meant, no dark light colour. There wasn't much peas or nothing in it. It was mostly carbs, if we're being honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what he fed, and he was the top man.
Right.
And that always stuck in my, that always stuck in my head, that about that. When he said, lighter the colour, faster the bits. So, but it is what it is. But I am a great believer. If you get the feed right, I think you'll win. It's as simple as that.
Feeding's got. I've been terrible the last few years. My pigeons daring me, aren't they, Tom? They've looked like show races, man. They've been too heavy. And then this year, when I come back from Saudi, and I bought a load of young ones off Jamie's dad, Bob, and raced them, and I finally learnt my lesson about, well, pigeons haven't got to look like show pigeons. You know what I mean? I finally learnt my lesson on the Tom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everything's been lighter for me, and it works. You know what I mean? So I've been really happy. So
I think if you especially if you overfeed them, or sometimes you feed the wrong feed, you're just making hard work for yourself, Bob. And by the time when you do realise is that they're overweight or they're not right, the season's over.
It's too late. I've learnt my lesson now. So what I'm going to do this year, I'm going to put the corn in a dish, and I'm going to put a piece of glass in it over the top of it so they can't eat it. So hopefully that'll do it. But right, listen, lads, that's been an absolute fantastic show, honestly, again. And Paul, thank you very much for joining us, mate. It's been absolutely fantastic to have you on the show with us, mate. And
is that it? So it's finished now?
Yeah, we've done. We're 9 o'clock. We've done the hour there.
I was just getting warmed up.
Don't swear.
I was just getting warmed up then.
Was you, Paul? Yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, Paul, thanks very much for getting involved with me. And everybody, thanks for watching. Please hit that subscribe button and hit that like button. And thank you for all your comments. We're getting more comments now, and hopefully, we're answering your questions. And we want you to get involved, because that's the whole point of this. We're doing it for you to get involved and sending us some ideas across, and we'll always talk about your ideas. As long as they're about pigeons and nothing else. So, listen, lads, thanks very much for everything, and thanks for a great night. And hopefully we'll see you all next week. Thank you, Paul.